We were shocked yesterday morning. That's how I began my morning. I was on my way to my car, and I got a call from a fellow captain who told me what had happened. And so there was an element of shock, as there is with any loss. And for us to lose Wayne Kamus is not just the loss of a captain, it's the loss of a brother and a friend. He was, in fact, an integral part of this department. Without him spearheading the drive to become a CALEA accredited agency, we wouldn't be receiving our accreditation next year. He did a lot for us. He promoted the professionalism of our agency, the community partnerships. He was very important to us, and not just because of those things, but because he was a friend, because he's someone you could sit down and have lunch with and talk to, because he mentored younger officers, newer officers, and pointed them on a positive career path. But he set just a wonderful example of what a cop ought to be, of what a public servant should be. Not just somebody who puts bad guys in jail, or somebody who just solves problems for the community to prevent it from ever becoming a criminal matter. He cared about people. He developed relationships. And he invested in people inside this agency and outside this agency, from being one of our first certified school resource officers to working with the SALT Council, community watch groups, all of our civic organizations, working with new officers in the field training program. He was on the SWAT team with me for years. He was one of the members of the strategic counter-drug team, the federal drug task force here in the area. He was a fantastic crime scene investigator and a very good criminal investigator. He was a shift lieutenant, and you just could not ask for a better all-around cop. He was a cop's cop.
And I saw that even outside of law enforcement, he was involved in the community with the kids during the street festival. The Madison Street Festival, and the Boys and Girls Scouts. I guess just talk about that. Just goes to show that he was good with people outside of the
He was. Captain Kamus, Wayne, invested in people. He invested in older people, young professionals, and he invested in young people. He was scheduled to participate in our Shop with a Hero coming up in December, where we go and we shop with less fortunate youth in the area to make sure that they've got a Christmas. Wayne never had children, but Wayne had a whole lot of kids. Between being a school resource officer, making sure that they were fingerprinted so that they were safe, giving safety talks, generally investing in them. And we use words like investing in the community and being a pillar of the community. And that becomes cliche sometimes. But the truth of the matter is, Wayne was all of those things and more. He was a man of integrity and a man of honor. And he's going to be missed.
Do you have any favorite memories of him?
I've got a lot. Wayne and I used to throw ideas, bounce ideas off of each other. I actually started the Office of Professional Standards where he was working when I was a lieutenant. And we would go back and forth on our ideas and get creative. And it'd start snowballing sometimes, and we'd have to realize, hold on, we're making things way more complicated than what they need to be. But we'd get excited about things. He also worked with us in SWAT. We were talking about it in my division the other day. And one of the guys that was on the team with us back then, because we're the old guys now, we remember being at a school over in Georgia, and it was a pretty tough school. They had a big live fire shoot house, and most of the guys on the team are stacked up on the door, and we're all laughing and cutting up, the false bravado of cops and SWAT cops. And we turned and we realized we hadn't heard anything from Wayne. And we turned, and he was standing over at the wall of the shoot house going, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do. He was such a thinker. And he treated everything like a chess game. And he was looking 5, 6, 10 moves out in advance. And that was just Wayne. That same school, they were teaching, he was a relatively new SWAT officer with us. And they were teaching us how to walk without making noise and without bobbing up and down so that we could have a good sight picture when we're moving and shooting. And they taught us to do what's called a Groucho walk, which is kind of a heel to toe, but you lead with your quadriceps and your legs. And Wayne just couldn't get it down to begin with. So he would spend hours at that school walking like that. And by the time we were done, his legs hurt him so bad he could barely sit down in the car to drive back home from Toccoa, Georgia, because his legs were cramping up on him. But he was a perfectionist, and we're going to miss that about him. And he had a good sense of humor too. I mean, he really did. Never saw him when he wasn't smiling. And if he wasn't smiling, it wasn't for very long. He took care of people. He took care of his family. And he loved them more than anything. That's one thing that I know his wife is going to miss him. And Wayne loved his wife more than anything in this world. She was the most important thing to him. As much time as he spent here at our agency getting us ready for the CALIA accreditation, that man loved his wife. And that's what people should know. Yes, he was a fantastic police officer. He contributed to the safety of this community, but he was a family man, and he was part of our family too.